If you think couples therapy is going to save you, couples therapy makes most avoidant men worse. In fact, going to couples therapy can be one of the worst possible moves for your relationship if you don't solve several other problems first. I know this because I'm a former marriage and family therapist myself, and I'm about to spill the secrets of my industry to show you why so many avoidant men do not respond well to couples therapy and how it can be a major threat to your relationship to get a therapist involved right now. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, and this video is part of a mini-series designed to debunk the biggest myths about how to change an avoidant man. Because so many women out there are following these outdated and misguided methods, and they're losing the love of their life due to these misunderstandings. Now, this series in particular is tied to the launch of my How to Love an Avoidant Man video course, which right now is on early bird special. So go check that out if you're having any of the problems listed in this video. Today, I'm going to show you a better method for fixing your relationship with him based on all of my years of clinical experience. So if you love an avoidant man and if you don't want to lose him, make sure you watch this video all the way to the end before you lose his trust by trusting the wrong advice. Now let's get right into it. If your relationship is hurting, like most people, you probably think the best approach is couples therapy. Most women look to couples therapy as a proactive solution to disconnection, to misunderstandings, or to fighting with an avoidant partner. This is because, honestly, most of us have been programmed to believe that therapy is going to solve every problem, that it's not just for diagnoses, that it's also for feelings, that it's designed to help people understand each other deeply, that it's going to solve every single problem. We believe that if we walk into a therapy office, we're going to get the exact model for everything that we need, when in fact, each therapist is very different, and there's a lot of bad therapists out there who are going to give you bad advice, and a lot of different therapy modes that are going to be horrible for avoidant attachment. We're going to get more into that a little bit later. But most women are doing this not because they just want to walk into a meat grinder. Most women are doing this because they truly believe with all of their heart that getting some professional assistance is the only way to move forward. They're trying to find a mediator to have somebody come in and sort right from wrong and help everybody understand each other better, which is what they're hoping couples therapy will be. Now, if you're a woman in a relationship with an avoidant man, you don't need me to tell you that there are a lot of challenges that can lead to you wanting to seek professional help. There's probably a lot of problems that feel hopeless to fix. We're going to go through a few of these. Tell me if this is you. If so, odds are good you have an avoidant man that you're dealing with and that you need some assistance, okay? One of the biggest issues I see when I work with couples is emotional distance. Emotional distance comes from the fact that he has not really understood what emotional closeness is supposed to look like. Distance keeps him safe. Distance prevents people from being able to hurt him. Distance prevents people from being able to control him. Distance feels safe. And most of them have never really had someone they could open up to either. So they don't understand the starvation that you experience when he's not close. Loss of intimacy is another one. This really falls off a cliff at about 7 to 12 months, where both of you will start feeling massive disconnect in the relationship. He's going to stop doing the behaviors that were making you feel good, and you're going to stop having the drive to really nurture him in return. The intimacy dies, and it dies hard, and both of you will be miserable. The next one is difficulty expressing his feelings. This is because they've never had somebody who actually cared about their feelings, and their feelings seem useless to them. They are endlessly tracking risk variables in their relationships, but feelings in particular are irrational to them. So they don't really track them, and they don't express them because they've never had somebody care. Conflicts also never get resolved. What you'll see is that when a conflict hits, he's going to pull away and withdraw, and then shut down the conversation. Then he's going to go try to solve the problem himself alone, probably misunderstand what the problem was, solve it for about a week or two, and then the problem will come back. And that is why conflicts never fully get resolved and why you continue to be hurt and grow resentful over time. Now, just like he won't express his feelings, he's probably going to dismiss your feelings. Your feelings won't make much sense to him and they'll seem irrational and foolish, so he'll mostly tell you why you shouldn't have those feelings. And what this is going to lead to is a feeling that he doesn't care about you. That constant dismissal feels like a slap in the face, an overwhelming rejection over and over and over. The next one is mismatched needs. You're going to need connection and intimacy and warmth. He's going to need space away from you so that he doesn't have to talk to you, doesn't have to talk about feelings. He's going to pull away more and more and more. He needs emergence away from your connection. You need immersion into connection. And this leads to the next one, his increasing pulling away. He will completely, more and more over time, withdraw from you, especially emotionally and verbally, where he spends less and less time opening up to you or speaking to you. Over time, what this leads to is your growing resentment and your sorrow. You're probably heartbroken. You're probably miserable. You wish this could work. You don't want this relationship to die. But you've probably never felt more sad, more lonely, and a little bit more frustrated or angry than you ever have right now. Now, all of these are very serious problems. They definitely need to be addressed. But I have seen way too many relationships torn apart by then going into couples therapy, and couples therapy itself being the massive vortex of destruction. And there are specific risks in couples therapy right now that we need to talk about so that you understand why. Now, what is it about couples therapy specifically that sets avoidant men on edge? I'm not somebody who says couples therapy is bad in general, but for avoidant men, couples therapy can be one of the worst things in the world. This is because many times they will feel forced into that therapy session. They may even recommend it themselves as a last-ditch effort when you get angry and resentful, but they still feel forced into this program, and they hate it. Somebody else has control. Now they walk in there, and there's an authority figure over them who has control. You are forcing them to go through it. Now they can't stop. They've lost control in a system that they don't have much faith in. That feeling forced, that is the core of what makes them avoidant, because they never want anybody to have the power to force them to do anything. They often also have the expectation that mostly female therapists, and yes, the field is mostly female now, who will mostly side with women. And unfortunately, research does show that female couples therapists often will side with the women. There's a number of reasons for that. We can get into that a little bit later, but unfortunately, at least, this is the perception of a lot of avoidant men. So they're being forced into a program where they are now in hostile enemy territory with somebody who is going to side against them. There's also the overwhelming obsession with feelings and feelings language in therapy. This is the opposite of everything he understands. He's risk-focused. He's measurement-focused. Feelings make no sense to him. He hasn't felt most of the feelings that you want him to feel, and he hasn't felt most of the feelings that you're wanting him to help you feel. So this feelings language is confusing. You may as well hold the sessions in French if he doesn't speak French. There's also, unfortunately, this massive popular portrayal in modern media and this focus on protecting women and viewing men as aggressors. Our society views men as toxic, hurtful, right? This is unfortunately in many cases, this leads men to feel endlessly attacked outside. Then they go into the concentrated area of that room where, again, they think the female therapist is against them. They think you're forcing them in there. It's a language they don't speak. And now they feel like they're completely being ganged up on. The men, in turn, and this is often true, do get blamed for a lot of relationship problems. Guys, it's your fault. Guys, you're not doing enough. You're not being emotionally intimate enough. You're stupid. You're emotionally stupid. You're an idiot. Why are you doing it this way? This is what a lot of men hear when they hear these therapy programs, unfortunately. I wish it wasn't this way. And not every time, but especially avoidant men, this is what they're hearing. There is a big problem that we need to address as well, is that in therapy, and this is documented, in couples therapy, women often are better at articulating their hurts in therapy. They'll talk about those hurts differently. They'll share the things their partner did that were hurtful differently. They often will cry, which not on purpose, but it elicits more sympathy. This gets a lot more sympathy often from a therapist, especially therapists who are not diligently enough trained to stop their countertransference. And this makes the man look like an aggressor. So now he has to apologize over and over and over. So he's dragged into a session he doesn't like with all this focus on feelings and being forced to apologize over and over because he can't complain enough. A lot of this leads to the belief that therapy is completely ineffective for most men. I'm not saying it is, but it feels like it because the focus is often on fault, not solutions, which is not attractive to men. Their head says, I'm going to go to couples therapy. It's going to be a female therapist. We're going to talk about feelings. I'm going to get told it's my fault. I'm going to have to apologize. Then we're going to go home. She's going to look all smug. She's going to say she doesn't have to do any work because it's all my fault. This is just going to make everything worse. And I'm going to be the bad guy. And it will kill any hope I have at all of us resolving this and of her taking any responsibility for her half. Why would I do this? I hear this time and again from men. I heard this as a couples therapist. Men would come in and say that. When I'd say, all right, tell me what you really think here. Tell me what you're really afraid is going to happen. Tell me if you're actually really buying into this or not. When they would be honest, this is what they felt. Keep in mind also that therapy is a lot more of an art than a science. It's dependent heavily on every single practitioner, their skills, their bias, right? How they've been trained, who trained them, their philosophy, their ideology, their politics. Massive difference. So it's almost seemingly random to most people if you get a good therapist or someone who will tell you to get a divorce. I have lost track of the number of people who've come into my coaching practice and said, Adam, we don't believe in divorce, and our last therapist was pushing us so hard to get a divorce that we quit, and we're afraid you're going to do that. Imagine going to somebody for help and you both want to get help, and all they do is yell at you to break up. Now, there's some cases where maybe breaking up is necessary. Some really heavy abuse cases where no one wants to get better. But if you're both working diligently, there's a lot of therapists out there who are going to be very cavalier about divorce, tell you just to cut it, start over with someone new and have a great time. There are many avoidantly attached therapists or anxiously attached therapists. Not every therapist is healthy. Couples therapy also, unfortunately, again, depending on the practitioner, can focus endlessly on the symptoms, solving the symptoms, not on the root causes, which can smooth things over for a short time. But the problems come back. A lot of this is because most couples therapists are not trained in attachment theory, which is sad. They need to be. None of this, again, is to say couples therapy is never effective. I was a marriage and family therapist for many, many years. I'm criticizing parts of the field as it works and as it doesn't work, and some of the training of people. But I'm also really focused here on how it is not always effective for non-diagnoses, such as avoidantly attached men. It can be very, very effective if both partners are fully engaged and ready to learn, more secure. But very few avoidant men enter couples therapy with an openness because they feel so threatened. And they're so focused on minimizing the damage of the experience. This is why a lot of women walk out feeling angry and frustrated that he looked like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. At home, he's Mr. Hyde, but here he's perfect. Right? Because he's minimizing the damage in a hostile territory where things can just get so much worse. But, unfortunately, most women are still determined to try couples therapy because, and I'll say this, it feels like their only option in the entire world. So let's pretend Adam's wrong. I'm willing to do that. Let's pretend I'm wrong. Let's pretend you ignore this video and you say, I think that guy's full of it. I'm going to take him to couples therapy anyway. I think that this will work. What is likely to happen if you ignore these concerns? You drag him into couples therapy anyway. What I've seen based on my years in the field of couples therapy, now coaching avoidant men, okay? He's going to feel criticized and judged when he has tried to protect you through the years. And you may not realize that. He's tried to take care of you. He's tried to love you. He's tried to nurture you. He has tried to guide you in his own way. And now he feels like you are dragging him somewhere where he is going to be attacked. And that's not good. The emotional overwhelm for him is going to be absolutely astounding. If you manage to get him to engage long enough with the emotion-focused language, it's going to overwhelm him and fry him. He's going to feel controlled by you, forced into this program. He's going to feel like you are now the master in the relationship and he is the servant. He will hate this. He will have decreased trust in you if he feels that you've triangulated with a therapist against him. And you may try as hard as you can not to. And the therapist may do it. It may be two females, you and the woman therapist, and you're crying and she hands you a tissue and he says, she's on her side. It can be that simple. There's going to be likely an increasing withdrawal from you as he now feels he is unsafe sharing things with you outside of session because you're going to bring it up in session against him. This is going to lead to an increased conflict in the relationship. This is going to lead to him questioning the relationship. This is where a lot of avoidant men say, maybe monogamy just isn't going to work. Maybe it's just not for me. This is why I've seen couples therapy in many cases end relationships that otherwise have been saved. Frankly, because of how the avoidant man perceives couples therapy, how he experiences couples therapy, due to the risks with the couples therapist. So if couples therapy isn't the option for you, If you feel like that was your only choice, what are you supposed to do instead? Let me make this abundantly clear. Avoidant men don't hate learning. And they don't really hate feelings or even learning about feelings. What they hate is being forced to do things that they feel are worthless. In fact, they love learning and growth. They love going through learning and growth together with people, if possible. And you going through learning and growth together with him can drive that vasopressin bonding that hits his system in an ideal way because it bypasses his block against oxytocin bonding and gets him connected directly to you with trust. When you have vasopressin, when you relieve stress and decrease problems and solve conflict together, your brain tags that person as an ally and says, yes, keep this person around, trust this person, bond with this person. It fosters emotional intimacy by solving problems together, which his world is endlessly filled with problems. You have 1 billion problems to solve together with him. Couples therapy often is not the best way to do it. Avoidant men especially love scientific data, especially data that proves a solution is going to be effective. Let's make something else clear. They're often called afraid. They're afraid of commitment. They're commitment phobes. But they're actually some of the biggest risk takers on the planet. After they assess risks and gather information about variables involved, and they make a smart, educated decision that shows them what to do. And they say, yes, I will take that risk. I will make this investment. They're some of the biggest risk takers in the world. It's that they don't understand risks in relationships or how to track them or how to manage them. And it seems like they're getting nothing in return. That's the problem. So the key to helping an avoidant man change his avoidant behavior pattern is to give him scientific proof that there is a better way for him to relate to you, to get his needs met, to be fulfilled, to track and manage all the variables, to work with you as a loving, reasonable partner in a format designed to help him. And at the same time, if you want to fix the relationship from your side, couples therapy is likely going to help you vent a lot of frustration at him, but it may not help you learn to understand him at his core. The arguments you guys are having, the arguments that you're probably going to have if you go to couples therapy, they're likely to target his adrenaline and cortisol and dopamine systems. This is going to turn you into a problem to solve, not a person to bond with. Again, this is why most guys, avoidant men, walk into couples therapy. It gets worse. They try to find a way to manage you and solve you in the short term. It gets temporarily better, but now he's stressed out because he has to endlessly caretake your feelings, and it ends up having an affair. Or you end up back in couples therapy because now it's worse. Or you end up with 5 couples therapists. I've seen that plenty of times. There's a big problem here, and part of it is because he can't really articulate to you what is different about him and his needs. He can't really tell you what he needs you to learn. You're going to need a professional, yes, to help explain this for you, but couples therapy is probably not the beginning format for that. Now, once you understand him, once you do understand him and he makes sense to you, it will be easy for you to stop setting off his defenses and get him to bond with you instead. And once he understands what's actually driving his own behavior patterns, he can find a healthier way of behaving that achieves his actual relationship goals. This is the time where he's open and prime for couples therapy at that point, because now he's ready to engage. He's ready to use feelings language. He's ready to listen to you. And the two of you can work together. Even if the therapist comes down and has problems, you can push back on the therapist and say, no, that's not what we want. We want to go this direction. You'll unify as a couple instead of being guided by someone who may or may not really be able to help you. All of this, it requires that there has to be some learning first. There has to be some growth first. There has to be answers first before you can really make use of going head to head in couples therapy in a place that is hostile territory to him. All of this thinking, and my years as a couples therapist myself, is exactly the thinking that led me to create the How to Love an Avoidant Man video course, very effective for couples. Now, it begins with an exploration of the brain chemistry that drives avoidant attachment style, and it quotes the cutting edge of scientific research into bonding hormones to show him the truth about his own behavior in a format proven to be most palatable for avoidant men. Then the course walks you through understanding his communication style. identifying and measuring your own needs so you can share them with him, and how to make those needs clear to him so he can finally start nurturing your heart in the way that you've been looking for. After all of that comes helping him identify his own needs and teaching him to share those needs with you so that you can then fulfill him as his loving partner. All of that adds up to a system of bonding and loving each other that can keep you together for 50 years of happy marriage as you raise kids and grandkids together. So if you're looking for a system that can draw him closer to you instead of accidentally pushing him away, check out the How to Love an Avoidant Man video course linked in the description. Now, I was a couples therapist for many, many years. I know that couples therapy holds a lot of value for a lot of couples. I know it does. And there's a time and a place for it. But avoidant men at the beginning of their process often react so badly to it that the experience itself kills the relationship. I've seen it happen way too many times, and I strongly encourage you to stick to a learning approach that is designed for his way of learning in that initial phase, while your way is also respected, and you're both able to share your true needs and wants. The How to Love an Avoidant Man video course is built from the beginning to the end to be exactly what he needs to understand himself, and so he can understand you, so he can finally receive your love to the fullest. And it's designed to help you finally get the love and respect that you deserve as his loving partner who has stood by him all this time. Avoidant men who have walked through this program with me tell me how amazed they are and how easy it is to finally understand their female partner's emotions and what she needs, and how to help her feel love for the first time. And the women who go through this program tell me how truly happy they finally feel, connecting with the man that they love and feeling fully embraced by him. I put that program together into this video course that you can watch right now to achieve these exact same results. So if you are ready to heal your relationship and improve your connection as a couple, and if you want to avoid the risks of couples therapy way too early at a time when it may break your relationship, pick up your copy of the How to Love an Avoidant Man video course by clicking the link in the description below. And everybody, please leave me your comments below. Have you ever had a negative experience in couples therapy? Or did it break you up? I really want to get this conversation going. Again, I love couples therapy. I believe in it. I'm a couples coach now. But there's also a time and a place for it. And there's learning that has to take place first so that you can make proper use of that time together as a couple. Share your stories in the comments below and let's have that conversation.